My BF, 21, cheated on me, 20. Won't say names for privacy reasons, just looking for advice from others who have been cheated on. This happened this week. Now to give some backstory, me and my S/O have been together for a year and a half and have been having some problems over the last few months. From the start, our relation has been hard with familial issues from mostly my side, along with many other reasons from the both of us. He's never been a good communicator, and I've never been very affectionate, and many outside family problems, as I've said. It was hard for him, me coming from a family where emotional needs were never really met, and affection is not something I grew up with, while his family, on the other hand, is very open and supportive of one another. In the past month, we had almost broken up twice and had decided to work it out. I could see that he was trying to break away, but I just wanted to keep trying, and I encouraged him that if we both tried to change, things could work out instead of waiting for one of us to do better. He agreed, and less than a week later left on his 8-day family vacation. Over the week, I fed his cat every day, made his bed, and cleaned up around his room. He would text and say how much he missed me and wished I was there. I excitedly awaited for his return. When he came back, I slept with him, and he told me how much he appreciated me. I had been planning on asking him to move out with me so we could start a new chapter and get away from the outside forces that had helped harm our relationship. The next day, I called out of work, slept with him again, bought us food with leftovers given to his family. He had spent a lot of money on the cruise. We spent time, it was until a little later he had started to become a bit off. Wasn't saying much. We were around his family and they asked if I would go on the next one with them. He eventually went to the bathroom because his stomach hurt, and I went to lay down because I was tired. He said he was going to shower, and after my nap, he had still not returned. I had an odd feeling in my stomach that something was wrong. I called him and asked where he was, and he responded by saying he was almost done. When he returned, I was groggy and in and out of sleep, and he was intent on his phone asking how to deactivate one of his socials. Not thinking much of it, he left and returned to the room upset. He began to cry, and I asked what was wrong and if something had happened, and he said he would tell me later. I pushed a bit more and eventually gave up to comfort him. He left to ask his sister something and returned crying again. I held him and hugged him and rubbed his back, worried on what could have been wrong. I asked if he wanted me to stay, and he said yes, and after a few minutes changed his mind and asked me to leave, which I agreed. Leaving, his sister gave me an odd look. I left. I didn't see or hear from him until hours later, and I had become worried. When I saw him later that night, I asked if he had cheated, and he said no. Why is that the first thing you go to? And said that he wanted to break up and that he had asked his family for advice and that he didn't want to be with me anymore, which I thought was very odd. We spent 2 hours talking and worked it out, understanding that relationships are hard and set small goals to achieve in the next month. He left, promised to call when he was home. No call. I texted and called with no response until he texted that he had met someone else on the cruise that he had kissed multiple times and made out with while he was also texting. He said she had found out about me and was no longer taking to him, and at this point he had picked me up to talk again when she had called him in the middle of us talking. I cried and begged, and he said he didn't love me anymore. That I didn't deserve what he did and that he betrayed me and I shouldn't want to be with him. The next day I returned the promise ring and I have cried, and he has gotten more cold and blunt and distant and very mean to me. And then other times he is comforting me. He says he deserves no one and that he doesn't want anyone, but I feel like he still has not told me the full truth. I sense that he is as confused as me, and I fear that he is still contacting her even after blocking and deleting her. He hurt me, he betrayed me, and I still love him. I haven't talked to him in 2 days, and tomorrow I will be seeing him to have a conversation, and I'm very nervous on what I should do or say. I want to be with him. He obviously does not want to be with me, as he said. Please be nice. I know there are 2 sides to every story, and I just want some advice that's not just forget him.